shadows, down low. You don't know what I'm going through, don't know what I'm going through. It's down low, down low. You don't know what I'm going through, don't know what I'm going.
Hey, welcome back TPL Nation for yet another draft analysis video. And on this one today, you guys, we have the Florida Barraskewda, coached by Matt Saar. And I'm very conflicted about this draft analysis video, you guys. But it's okay, we'll dive right in and just see what's good. So what is good is this Silvally. I do have Silvally fighting, but obviously it can run as any Silvally. So Silvally is interesting because it does lose that ability. It basically loses its item just to change its type, which is, it's okay. It's baby Arceus, but it's getting that nice 120 base multi-attack, so that's what it's got going for it. I only have multi-attack and U-turn because I feel like those are really interchangeable on any kind of Silvally, really. But as we move down through, it does get interesting moves like Air Slash, so definitely a Dynamax possibility there. I could definitely see maybe, you know, him getting an Airstream and then maybe just multi-attacking with the Silvally fighting to get the Knuckle boost possibly. But as we keep moving on, it does get interesting moves. Explosion's definitely an interesting one. It does get fire coverage with Fire Fang, Flame Charge, that could come into play. But as we keep going here, we see other good moves like Iron Defense, Iron Head, some decent coverage options here. Parting Shot, really good to switch out with, so honestly you could probably go with that over U-turn. It's very interchangeable, I feel. Psychic Fangs could be good for sure. Oh, I did not know Psychic Fangs destroyed screens. That's definitely something I'm going to need to keep an eye on, which is pretty dope. We got Roar on it, which could be interesting, but I feel like Matt's really going to want to be attacking stuff with this Silvally. Surf could be interesting. I don't know if he would run a special Silvally, but it's definitely on the table for him. I already saw Flamethrower and now Surf, so he's definitely got those special options if he needs. He's got more of a support set with Tailwind right here. Swords Dance is always really nice on Silvally. Thunderbolt for that special Silvally is right there. Thunder Wave could be interesting. Tri-Attack is interesting. As we keep moving down, not a whole lot as we move down here. That's really exceptional. I mean, Giga Impact's just kind of there. It's right there with Hyper Beam, Hail, Icy Wind. Icy Wind's always good support. I feel like I say that in every video, but it's good. I mean, it lets you control speed, and that's what's up, really. Because we have a lot of Pokemon in this meta with like Dynamaxing and setting up that may not want to switch out, you know what I'm saying? So those moves like Icy Wind or something could deter that Pokemon from staying in, maybe encourage the switch out, you know, and stop you from getting swept. But as we keep moving down, there's not really a whole lot of things. So it gets all the Fangs, it gets Parting Shot, U-turn, Swords Dance. I feel like that's just about it, all it needs with multi-attack in play there. Also Defog, a decent option. I didn't see that earlier, so Defog for getting rid of hazards if it absolutely needs to. But as we start moving into the other Pokemon, we do have Jellicent, so obviously some leftover set would be nice on it. You can obviously run stuff like Scald, Will-O-Wisp, I believe, so Scald and then Willow, and, you know, run something like Shadow Ball, maybe a last cheeky move, so maybe like Destiny Bond. I'm not sure if this thing gets Strength Sap, I can't remember or not. I don't know why like Strength Sap came to mind when I look at Jellicent. But just all in all, a pretty good bulky Pokemon, able to recover up with that move. And then as we keep running through, we do see stuff like Pain Split that could be annoying. Nightshade if it just wants to get some chip on stuff that it can't normally touch. It's got that option as well. It's got some nice coverage with the poison moves there, so it does get Strength Sap. That's why I thought it got it, but I wasn't 100% sure since it is kind of a new move. And then as we keep rolling along, we do see stuff like Surf, Taunt, Toxic, and Trick coming out. All of these solid moves for Jellicent, I feel. Trick you kind of have to build around, but hey, if you want to be the first person in the world to run Specs Jellicent and Trick it to somebody, dude, you do you, Matt. I feel like this team, while it may not be the best on paper, I feel like Matt can really make it work. I love Water Spout, huge power whenever you're at full HP. And then as we keep going, we see moves that could potentially let Jellicent spiral out of control with like Acid Armor. Confuse Ray's good, Double Team. Once again, coming back from the clutch. Dude, so many Pokemon get Double Team. That's ridiculous. Icy Wind, Muddy Water's nice. Psych Up could be good. Safeguard, maybe. But yeah, all in all, pretty good Pokemon. It can wear stuff down, it can burn stuff, it can put some good pressure on with maybe Toxic and Strength Sap to wear some stuff down. But that's going to just about do it for Jellicent. So as we move on to the next Pokemon, we get into Regirock. So Regirock's pretty dope. It's the more defensive of the Regis with 200 base defense there, and I feel like it does have some things that it can use for that. So obviously it does get Body Press, it does get Iron Defense, which could be cool. It gets Explosion. You know, it's a pretty decent Pokemon, and I think Matt can definitely use it to its full extent here. I do believe it gets Stealth Rock as well, so a good Stealth Rocker in Regirock, absolutely. As we move down, we do see other things that he could use, like Curse, Counter, very interesting stuff. It gets plenty of fighting coverage with Brick Break there. Drain Punch might be a nice option to keep that thing's HP up. Ice Punch is good too. Iron Head, Power Up Punch, Rest could be good. Maybe a Rest Seismic Toss set. Rock Polish, hey, it may be niche, but hey, Matt could make it work, man. You never know. Superpower is decent. Doesn't rely on body press to get its defense damage. And then Thunderwave could be interesting to play more of a support role with Regirock. Block, if it wants to just trap something in with it, that could be interesting. As we keep moving down here, we have just not the best moves in the world, but some interesting ones at least. Psych Up, possibly, if it wants to steal like some defense boost from something, it could definitely do that. Self-Destruct, not as good as Explosion. So there's not a whole lot to say for Regirock, but it does put in a fair amount of work, and at least it gets something like Thunder Punch to combat like bulky water types. There's not a whole lot it can do against grass types. I mean, I guess it gets Ice Punch too, so that's what's working for it better than, say, something like Gigalith, is that like Regirock actually gets like the elemental punches for at least some type of coverage. And then we move on to Dhelmise. Dhelmise is pretty dope. I love Dhelmise, and the main reason I love Dhelmise is that like it's really strong. It's 131 base attack, but its move pool is insanely deep. Anchor Shot, Body Press, Brick Break, Earthquake, Energy Ball, all of these moves it can use to an extent if it needs to. And if you don't think people won't run special Dhelmise, I did it once in my battle against Mario. It didn't end up coming out, but I had special Dhelmise just in case for Hippowdon. If Hippowdon was a problem, I kept Dhelmise in the back. Giga Drain could be nice. Flash Cannon, with Steel Worker, giving it the stab on moves like that. Gyro Ball could be interesting. Heavy Slam, not so much, but it's there in case you need it. It gets plenty of water moves like Scald and Hydro Pump. Iron Defense, Iron Head, Knock Off, Poltergeist, Pain Split, Power Whip, Protect, Rapid Spin, Rest, Rock Slide, Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw, Sludge Wave. All in all, plenty of great offensive moves, and a lot of the times in last season I found myself not even necessarily running a Ghost, a Grass, and a Steel move because it just had so many other good coverage moves. If I wanted to hit something with like a 4x weakness, I ran it. You know, I think there was this there was a yeah, against Joey, I was facing that Tyranitar down with my Dhelmise, and I brick broke that thing for like a clean 30%, and I was happy it was Dynamaxed. So I did get some good chip on that Pokemon. So there's definitely all kinds of different movesets you can use on Dhelmise. I'm just going to scroll through because it's a lot of the same stuff we've already seen with like Double Team and stuff like that. But this Pokemon can definitely come through and put in the work. Absolutely. Also a decent Trick Room on if Matt manages to get that as an option. We move on to Garbodor next, and Garbodor is okay. It's got a couple things going for it. It does, of course, get the Toxic Spikes, so, I mean, it's got that going for it. It can clear Toxic Spikes. Unfortunately, it's not that strong. Does this thing get like Swords Dance or anything? No, unfortunately it doesn't. Maybe Bulk Up? No, none of that. So it doesn't. So without a way to boost a lot of its stats, it's really up a creek without a paddle with its lackluster attack, and really its defenses too. Its defenses aren't anything to write home about, which is unfortunate. You would think they would have made this thing just a little bit bulkier. To be honest, I always did think Garbodor was bulkier than this. I don't know. But with Garbodor's G-Max, maybe it can double up its HP and do a little bit more. But it does have interesting tech moves like Clear Smog to get rid of an opponent's stat changes. Explosion once again makes a triumphant return. Drain Punch, it's not a whole lot that's really all that great on it. It does get Gunk Shot, Pain Split, Haze, I guess, if that's more your style. Can you tell I'm struggling? Seed Bomb, Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb again, regular spikes as well. So really it's probably best use is just to set up spikes and die, I'd imagine. Not a whole lot of other things going for it. It does get Corrosive Gas for some non-damaging removal on items, which could be useful in these situations where you're thinking it might have like a weakness policy or something. So it does get that option. We move through, it does get Infestation, which could be interesting to like Toxic Trap something maybe. The Infestation just keeping it in, but that's a very niche move. I doubt we'll see that come on, but it could be a thing that Matt decides to run. We keep running through, and that's kind of it. We do see Stockpile. So Stockpile is an interesting choice, letting it get a little bit bulky. But aside from maybe a Stockpile Pain Split set, and even then, you probably don't want to run Toxic Spikes and Spikes as your last two moves. I just see this Pokemon being like an annoyance at best and a non-threat at the worst, to be honest. But next up we do have like a semi-strong Pokemon in Drampa. So while Drampa is slow, it does get access to the wonderful Berserk ability, and anyone who's ever played with Galarian Moltres knows what this does. So basically if Drampa gets under 50% health, it gets a +2 in special attack, so that's super chill. With its really good moveset, being normal Dragon is not the best type, but it does get awesome coverage. It gets Blizzard, Draco Meteor, Calm Mind, Defog is just a few things to start out with. Dragon Pulse is nice, Energy Ball, Extra Sensory, Heat Wave. So there's definitely some interesting moves. Ice Beam, Hyper Voice for a nice stab. It gets a few other things as we see, like Roar and Rest. Maybe get the Berserk boost and then Roar and then Rest back up to full. That could be a strat that we see. Surf, Thunderbolt, Thunder Wave could be interesting there. So Drampa's got options to be a threat. The main drawback to Drampa is it's just slow, and that's unfortunate. But like I said, if he can get some kind of Trick Roomer on his team, I feel like he might at least have a shot to use these really slow Pokemon to his advantage that hit really hard. So Drampa I feel like could be really good. I feel like if you manage to get like a weakness policy set with this, you might be surprised at how much damage you're outputting with Drampa. But also, if you want to make sure it lives and doesn't get like O-code with something, you could run like a berry to stop the super effective fighting move, or the ice move, or the dragon move. So Drampa is interesting in the fact that it could like live hits and then end up revenge killing Pokemon. I definitely think that that's something that an opponent who's looking at this will have to at least acknowledge for it, that if your opponent's running the right item or just the right bulk in Drampa, it can live that hit and fire back and probably OHKO you back with 135 base special attack, and that's outside of Trick Room. As we move on to Aromatisse, I did want to check to see if this was the Trick Room Pokemon that I was missing, and it indeed is. So here's the Premier Trick Roomer that I feel like Matt can use. So not the best Trick Room team that he has going, but I feel like with what he has, that's definitely going to be one of his better strats. Aromatisse is okay. It's got decent special attack. It is slow as all heck. But I feel like if he just needs this to set up Trick Room, then that would probably be the best for him. So, just a few things. I'm not going to stay on Aromatisse too long. It's got good coverage because it's a fairy. Trick Room support, Wish support, it's nice. Charm's always nice. Disarming Voice, oh just kidding, that does not do what I thought it did. Draining Kiss could be interesting to get some HP back. Yeah, there's not a whole lot here, but you know, you could definitely come up with a few 6 sets for Aromatisse, absolutely. You know, as we keep going, it does have Sweet Kiss at the end. Just want to note that. Because you never know. You might want to get some confusion hacks, that'd be fine. It does get access to Nasty Plot, so it's nice. So you could definitely see a Nasty Plot Moonblast set, and maybe top off with Trick Room, and maybe another coverage move, or another maybe Disarming Voice, or not Disarming Voice, Draining Kiss or something like that. Or maybe just Aromatherapy for that extra little bit of support on your team. And then we round it out with Alolan Executor. Now I'm picking Alolan Executor for this because it's a little bit slower than regular Executor, not by much, but I feel like Matt can really use both of these. Alolan Executor does have enough stats to really hit hard with like a Draco Meteor, or maybe get some HP back with Giga Drain. The Harvest Citrus set is very annoying. If he manages to get Sun up, or his opponent does, this Pokemon can really thrive in Sun. A very good moveset, if I do remember. Yeah, Draco Meteor, Dragon Pulse, Energy Ball, so it's almost got everything it needs already. And then you have pretty good moves in Knockoff, some utility moves in Leech Seed. Screens is always nice. Oh, it gets Moonlight. That could be very interesting. Absolutely. Sleep Powder could be nice to put Pokemon to sleep. That could be annoying, especially in Trick Room, a fast Sleep Powder. As we keep going, it does get Teleport support, so that's nice. It can set up its own Trick Room. That's super sick. So we do see 2 Trick Room setters on this team. Very nice, very nice. So there might be some redeeming qualities to Matt's team here. And then as we move on, Synthesis is there. Wood Hammer, if he wants to run more of a physical, he can. Wish support again. Not a whole bunch of things. I mean, he could run Celebrate. Super good move right there. Absolutely. He keeps... And we keep going here, and we see stuff like Grassy Glide, Grassy Terrain. They could come into play, probably won't. Hypnosis is there, that could be interesting to use. But I mean, to be honest, you'll probably just run Sleep Powder anyway, to be honest. Solar Beam for the Sun matchup, who knows? All in all, Executor is an okay Pokemon, but I feel like it's just another one of those Mons for Matt's team that really needs to be under Trick Room to do much of anything, and that's just my opinion. So with that, as I look back through here, just to give my final thoughts, so we do have a couple of shared weaknesses in the grasses. He does have the Sovali, so that can make up for it. I feel like Matt plans that Sovali out week to week very well, so that's definitely something he's got going for him. Regirock could be interesting. It could get out of control if an opponent doesn't really know what Regirock does. As we move on to stuff like Garbodor, it could be annoying with the hazards. It also gives him grounded poison, so that's really good. So you're not really going to be wearing down his team too much with toxic spikes. Dramapaw's really good in Trick Room. I feel like if Matt can get Trick Room up, then he can just, like, his team can kind of run wild, at least for the few turns it can. Now, I will say that Trick Room is hard to pull off. My whole second half of the season was kind of based on Trick Room, and it has a lot of downsides. One, Trick Room can be stopped with Taunt. Trick Room can be stopped with opposing Trick Room. Trick Room can be stalled out very easily. There is no item to extend Trick Room, and I feel like without there being one, Trick Room can be easily countered, especially if your team, like this one, just looks like it really needs Trick Room to thrive and it has 2 setters on it. So I did just do Bill's video, and I feel like Bill could take more advantage of the Trick Room, so he got a really good score from me. But I think all in all, man, this pains me, but I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4, and I know that sucks, but to me this team looks even below average. Now, do I think Matt can't pull off some miracles? Absolutely. I totally believe he thinks he can do that. I totally believe he can do that. Matt is a great battler. I battled him myself in an exhibition match, and he took me apart quite well. There's not many matches I look back on Season 1 and think, oh, they were kind of blowouts in my opponent's favor, but that exhibition match with the Florida Barraskewda was definitely one of them, and while his team may not be the strongest this season, it still has potential to deal out some L's to people, and honestly, I feel like this is the kind of team that if you look at these group right here, it still has the potential for next season to get some real threats added on and turn into an A1 team. So unfortunately, I can't give it anything higher than a 4 at this time, but it's the beginning of the season. Who knows what this team will look like at the end. So I'm really interested to see how this shakes out for Matt. I've been Ace Trainer Ryan, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.